Quebec, Canada, fighting Troy the Destroyer Dorsey, 12 rounds for the World Super Lightweight Championship.
What are you going to do now as far as kickboxing?
First, I want to thank God. Say hello to my wife, Shelly and Kendra. Happy birthday, Shane. And thank all of my instructors and students at my school. Now, pick up kickboxing and boxing both again and go after a world title.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. All right.
The winner and still Hurricane World Super Lightweight Champion of the World, Troy the Destroyer Dorsey!
What's up, Destroyers? It's your host, Bryce George, here for another week of If the Gloves Could Talk, featuring Troy the Destroyer Dorsey. I'm back with some great content we have planned for you guys, making up for a missed episode last week. So don't worry, we definitely have some great content for you guys to watch to make up for last week. So we're going to have fun here today. To go over what we're going to be seeing, as always, we're going to give you a clip from a Blast from the Past segment. And what that is Troy and I have been recording for over 2 years now. And in that time, we've been collecting past recordings, and slowly but surely, we have created a whole large archive of them. So bit by bit, we're sharing those with you guys in every episode. So that's what we're first going to go to right before the commercial break. Let's go to a Blast from the Past.
Both Steve Cruz and Gene Hatcher, I think they both had I'd say 250 to 350 amateur fights, and they both did real well. I wish I knew the titles they won. I know they won the Golden Gloves several times. So these guys were amateur fighters. That's what Golden Gloves in. And then after that, they turned pro. And they both won world titles, and I was fortunate that I fought in the Golden Glove one time. So I think I had three fights in that Golden Gloves, and maybe it was just two fights. It's been a very long time ago. So I think I fought in the Golden Gloves, and I fought one fight, and then I fought for the Golden Gloves Championship, and I lost that fight. And then, but before that, I fought in the Panther Boys Club tournament, and I won that tournament. And I think I fought 2 or 3 fights there also. So that was my amateur career, was 2 or 3 wins, 2 or 3 or 4 losses. So I was kickboxing at that time, so I was just training in kickboxing. And then I started boxing boxing at a boxing gym in '82. Had my first pro fight in '85. I loved Marvin Hagler. I liked Sugar Ray Leonard. I liked Boom Boom Ray Mancini.
Boom Boom.
Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Yeah, he was an amazing fighter. Alexis Arguello. I really liked those guys.
What do you like about them?
I guess some Boom Boom Mancini was he was the Boom Boom, so he was a very, very aggressive fighter, and won world title, maybe world titles. I don't recall exactly, but I know he was a world champion, and he was an amazing fighter. Alexis Arguello was an excellent boxer, really good at picking people apart and not getting hit, which I didn't do very good at that. But yeah, Steve Cruz was a world champion, and I was actually a sparring partner. So the deal is, oftentimes sparring partners are used just to kind of beat on, but sometimes they're not just to beat on. They're to challenge the person training for the fight. So that's what I was. I was a challenge. Steve Cruz fought Barry McGuigan for the world title. And Barry McGuigan was really tops in boxing at that time. And he fought in Las Vegas, of course, at Caesar's Palace. And we're always fortunate to win my world title there at Caesar's Palace. Steve Cruz beat Barry McGuigan. And Barry McGuigan's excuse was it's so hot because it was outside in Las Vegas and he wasn't used to the conditions. But I don't know. I think Steve Cruz was just really fast. His defense was good, and he just picked Barry McGuigan apart. And I really have lots of respect for Barry McGuigan. He was one of my heroes, and here I was being able to be Steve Cruz's sparring partner for Barry McGuigan's fight.
Now, did you get to meet Barry McGuigan, did you say?
I think we said hello, and that's about it. So.
What was it like, though, like somebody like Steve, getting to know them, or at least like the first time meeting them? Is it a little bit starstruck, or do you feel?
Yeah, it was. I was in awe of them, and they were my heroes, and now here we are. We've grown old together, and Stephen Cruz, we're still friends. Gene Hatcher, I just talked to Gene Hatcher on the way here, and he's having some major back issues. So anybody out there wanting to lift Gene Hatcher up, pray for him and his back. He's really down in his back. He's having a hard time walking and standing. It really is really difficult for him. It has nothing to do with boxing, but he's really having a difficult time with his back.
Did you say, is it because of all the fighting?
No, it was not because of the fighting. It was not. It's
older age?
Something else. I think it's some kind of accident he was involved in. I'm not exactly sure, but I like to call them heroes. So I try to follow the Bible, and it's really easy to make an idol out of somebody that is really successful, and especially when they've had successes in your area. So yeah, I got to put those no idols. Jesus is my idol, and.
So you call them heroes. Okay, I understand that.
Yes, sir. Heroes. And there's another word that people use. It's called a mentor or a leader, or just heroes. You know, I'm sure everybody has a hero or two or three as they're growing up or in their the business. So this happened to be my business was boxing and kickboxing and doing point karate also. So I've got Bill Wallace, and of course people know Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is an amazing man. He's also a follower of Jesus Christ.
I love me some Chuck Norris.
Him and his wife, Gina Norris, are followers of Jesus Christ. And he has an organization called Kickstart. In the early stages of the program, it was called Kick Drugs Out of America. So guess what it's about? It's
Right.
He goes inside the schools, and especially the places where really, I say the places where the drug problems are the worst, but the drug problems are in every junior high pretty much. So he goes into those junior highs, and I'm not sure if it's elementary, I think it's mainly junior highs, and they teach martial arts. He has his instructors that he hires to go in and teach. So it's called Kickstart program for these kids. So give them an outlet to learn martial arts, and give them talk to them about no drugs and taking care of their bodies. And our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. I think I've talked about this before. It's like no one would ever imagine going into church and with their baggage, with their garbage bag, and then just go up to the very front and just dump it, or go to the very back, dump their trash. No one would ever think about that. Well, see, our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, so when we put stuff into our body, drugs and alcohol, that is, that's like putting the trash in your body. So nothing good comes from alcohol or from drugs. So if you know someone, or you're interested, or you're doing something like that, I encourage you to stop. The Lord gave me the power to stop. So I'm not saying I'm looking down on you because you are involved in those type of things, but I'm saying make a change. Make a godly change. Come on. My name is Troy Dorsey. We offer martial arts and karate training and fitness kickboxing training. Our karate program is for men, women, and children of all ages. From 4.5, we even have a student that's 91 years old. Also, we teach fitness kickboxing. It's a 1-hour non-contact class of punching and kicking a bag, because hitting a bag is like weightlifting to help strengthen and tone your muscles. Give us a call at 817-477-5523. Come in and see us today and start your martial arts experience with us now.
All right, so we're back. It's so great getting to see those past clips that I got to record with Troy the past couple of years. And it's amazing to see the evolution of this podcast and where we're at now, and look at it from where we started. So what we've got up next for you is a great interview with Mr. Dave Kovar. He's based out of Sacramento, California, one of the greats in martial arts and fond friend of Troy. We had a great interview with him, and we're about to let you guys take a look at that. So really quick, we're going to show you guys that interview, and we'll be right back to recap. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm great, show.
Troy, how are you doing as well?
I'm still cooling off. I went through a workout this morning, and I was thinking about Mr. Kovar doing while I was working out. This man, he works out every day. He rests, I think, on Sunday. But anyway, he is a great martial artist. He's always fit, and he's just such a stand-up guy for sure. Stand-up man. Yes, sir.
So we have a lot to talk about Mr. Kovar today, one of the greats in martial arts. And Mr. Kovar, can you first tell us what Hanshi means? And let me know if I'm saying that right.
Hanshi's a title that was given to me by one of my instructors, a guy named Shion Makao. I've been training with for about 35 years now. He's like a real life samurai, and Hanshi's the title means model gentleman, and it's usually reserved for someone that's like a 9th degree black belt. And it's kind of like, I'm okay with Dave, by the way. That's just fine. That out of respect for him, he gave me the title, so we'll use it on formal occasions.
Okay, very interesting. And now that we kind of broke the ice, let's first talk, Mr. Kovar, about, can you just tell us who you are, how you got into martial arts? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I just wanted to shout out real fast how much respect I have for Master Dorsey. Dr. Troy, as I know he's called on the show here, but I've been, watched him from afar for forever, and it's been to know him. Although, I haven't seen each other much in the last few years. It's always been a pleasure and joy to train with him and hang with him, and anyway, and to be on the show. So I am a professional martial arts instructor. I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. Martial arts I didn't find martial arts found me. So one time when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, my family was on a road trip, and I saw a silhouette of a guy doing a flying sidekick on a billboard somewhere. And I didn't know what it was, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so it was this was back in the mid 60s, and kids just didn't do martial arts then. There wasn't a lot of places to do it, and it wasn't considered something that you had kids do. It was considered violent, and it wasn't looked on the same light as it is today. And so anyway, I started wrestling in like 1971, and my older brother Tim went away to school, to college, and he came back and he'd done a year of martial arts training. Said, told my parents, you got to let Dave train in martial arts. So I started karate in September 1973, and I took to it. And about 6 months out of high school, in November of 1978, opened up my first school. So I basically been teaching professionally and training, since then.
Wow, and let me get this right, Mr. Kovar. You began teaching at 15 years old, correct?
I did, yes. So like
what's that like?
1974, I've been. Well, I had no idea what I was doing, and there was almost no kids in the school, so it was adults. And I remember, Mr. Dorsey would remember there was a martial arts chain back in the day called Tracy's Karate Studios, and they were the first big chain in the country. And the school that I started at had been a Tracy's Karate School, but their business method was everybody got a private lesson every week. So if you're a student, you got a private lesson every week, and do the math. If that's 100 students in the school, that's 100 private lessons. That's a lot of lessons. And so what happened is everybody ended up teaching a lot. And so I remember sitting in the lobby. I was about 14, 15 years old, I guess, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and my instructor was on the phone. So, what do you mean you can't make it? You got to be there. You got classes to teach. And I already knew it was a guy named Dave Sardia that was going to canceling for he couldn't make it in to teach. And I could see my instructor look at me and think, who else can I use? Dave, he's just a kid, can't use him. And then kind of circle back around, realizing there was no one other option. So that's when I taught my first class, and or private lesson, and I totally screwed up, like on everything, right? But there was a spark that kind of lit in me. Go, man, I love this stuff. So I started, at that point, and pretty soon, by the time I was 16 or 17, I was mostly running the school for my instructor, and then I opened up a school and been going ever since.
Troy, how old were you when you taught your first class?
I think I was 16.
Wow, so both of y'all started, at least to me that seems very young, but obviously you knew what you were doing at some point.
I had no idea what I was doing. No, I still only half know what I'm doing. I just fake it.
Right, that's the key thing. Now, let's fast forward a little bit, Mr. Kovar. Do you remember how you met Troy? Can you tell us about that?
Well, so remember, I'm like a world champion in loving martial arts. That's all I'm a world champion in, right? I don't have, I won some tournaments as a kid and I competed, but not to the same level as Mr. Dorsey. And of course, he was in the magazines all the time, and I'm a couple years older than he is, but I just remember him watching, this guy coming up and reading about him in the magazines. And one time, Mr. Dorsey, it was you were either defending your title or it was in San Jose at one of Ernie Reyes's events, and
yes.
I just remember you had this just great I'd seen you fight before, but that was the one where I don't know, there was something just special about your performance, and I remember that's. And then I'm not sure. I think we met at a business conference in the 90s, in like the mid 90s is the first time I actually, shook your hand and we became friends. So it's been probably 30 years, I'm guessing, something like that.
Does that sound accurate, Troy?
Oh, yes. He's got a better memory than me, though, for sure. Yes.
Well, that goes back a long way. And during that time, Mr. Kovar, you have opened 8 schools in Sacramento area. Yes. How many students do you have, and how long has it taken you to open 8 schools?
Well, it's been kind of, we've identified a lot of things that don't work along the way. So, it's never easy, but we have about 3,000 members, a little less than that, that we teach on a regular basis. And we, during COVID, we closed a couple schools, and now we've opened a couple since then. And so it basically, it's like anything else. Once you stop trying to become better, you quit being good. So every day you got to get up, and you can't really rest on what happened yesterday. You got to roll your sleeves up and stay in the moment and do what you can. And fortunately, I still love what I do. So, every day is good. So Mondays I like just as much as Sundays, etc. So I intend on doing this for a lot longer.
I love it. And Troy, Mr. Kovar and I were speaking before we started here, and he was at your school it sounds like maybe 10-ish years ago. Do you remember that?
Yes, in downtown Mansfield, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so have you seen Mr. Kovar teach before, Troy?
Had I seen him before that?
Have you seen him teach in person?
Oh, yes.
What's that like?
Oh, he's a master. He's really just a great martial art, a great teacher for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, from inside and out, from children to adults. Yes, he is amazing for sure.
It sounds like we have something
Thank you,
we
sir.
can
I got
learn.
to share a Troy story.
Yes.
Can I share a Troy story? Troy Dorsey
Please
story.
do.
So
Yeah.
this would have been probably in the late 90s, and I was teaching a class at this big martial arts convention, and this would have been an EFC convention, Mr. Dorsey. And there's probably 300 people in this class, and of course Troy Dorsey, being the martial arts junkie he is, and just kind of low key, doesn't draw up a lot of attention to it. He's in the class, and we're doing, like, I'm teaching a jab cross hook or something, and this is something that this guy's world champion in, but he doesn't care. He's just playing along. It's very intimidating to have him in this group. But then the funny part is that he's working out some kid that's his partner is this like 17 or 18-year-old kind of rookie that doesn't know a lot, okay? And he's helping Troy Dorsey out of how to throw a jab. He's going, okay, I think you should help a little more or something. And I'm going, oh. And Troy Dorsey just goes, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. He's like, he didn't say a word. The guy had no clue who he was working with. It was great, though.
Has that happened a lot?
Right.
Has that happened a lot to you, Troy? Or you've gotten to kind of go along with things like that?
Yes. But that's okay. That's okay.
I can see Troy doing that.
Yeah, your mind is like I like this saying, your mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, it won't work. So that's not to everything. Don't be open to all kind of anything crazy, but yeah, I just kind of opened my mind is what I was doing.
I think that's something we can all learn from. And talking about learning, Mr. Kovar, you began in Kenpo karate, correct? And then
right.
You started Japanese jiu-jitsu in 1974. And then you went on to obtain 9 more black belts. How does somebody do that?
Well, it's kind of like I have a pretty broad martial arts base, which means I know a little about a lot of styles. That's the good news, and it fits me. The bad news is if you stick with one thing, you get really good at it. So I'm kind of the classic jack of all trades. I've got rank in a lot of different styles, and I think the reason is because I think I have a bad case of martial arts ADHD at all. And well, I never set out to get a bunch of black, just that I enjoy training, and next thing you know, you're in the process and you've got someone, a guy you're training with that says, all right, man, in a few more months, get this down and you're going to test for this. And that's kind of how it's been. So it's really not about the rank. It's about the training and just kind of getting up every day and doing what you can. And it's interesting is that as the body ages and injuries come along, you have to adjust accordingly, but there's still plenty you can do.
And what would you say is your favorite style of fighting to this day, and why is it your favorite?
I like it all. The one that I spend the most time in, is probably Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, only because it's interesting, is that I feel my age the least when I'm grappling. Like, Mr. Dorsey, I don't know about you, but like a hard, high round kick just isn't much in my arsenal anymore. Like I can do one or two, but my back hurts and my knee hurts and, my wrist hurts when I hit things. And, it's like somehow grappling, I feel my age less. So that's where I spend a lot of my time. And I look at martial arts like this. Health, fitness, martial arts, meaning I look at eating right, exercising, getting enough rest, managing my stress as part of my martial arts training. And when you look at it that way, there's plenty you can still do.
I love that. And Troy, do you have a favorite style of fighting, or are you just a fan of all of it?
I'm going to have to side with Mr. Kovar. I really love jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu maybe 18 years ago, and I got my black belt. It usually takes 10 years, but I got my black belt in 12. It took me a little longer. I'm a slow learner.
Well, you beat me. It took me 13.
But
Well,
still, that's a black belt, you know. It's not any small accomplishment.
so yeah, I really love it. Like I think Mr. Kovar said, it's not as much beating and banging on your body. If there's one thing, if you tap out, you got to leave your ego at the door. You can't, it doesn't matter if it's a kid or an adult or a woman or there's a lady, Sue Osmond, that I train with a lot. I think she was a brown belt, maybe a blue belt when I started jiu-jitsu, and she was 100 pounds, and she just killed me all the time. So, but jiu-jitsu is really, really fun, and I enjoy it. The only thing is, right now I'm battling with a hip problem. I'm having to get my hip replaced. I set the appointment April 15th. I can't wait. Have you had hip replacement, Mr. Kovar?
You know, it's so funny that you say that. I'm kind of with it, but I'm not quite ready for it. I had stem cell about a little over a year ago into my hip that seems to have staved off the issue for a while. So I'm feeling better at the time. But yeah, I get it. I mean, it's the really common martial arts injury, right? All of our friends have had their hips replaced. I not yet, but one's probably coming in the next few years.
Can't avoid it at this point.
But I only hear good stuff. Yeah, I only hear good stuff about the people hips replaced, so I'm sorry that's happening.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I got a good guy, a good doctor. My daughter Shelly she's my referral. She referred me to this doctor, so I know it's going to be good. I know it'll be taking. I can't wait though. Right now, it's bothering me. Right now, when I sleep, when I lay down, I usually lay on my left side when I sleep. This is personal stuff here, but I lay on my left side. I can't lay on my left side really. It's just painful. Just like it's not like a knife sticking in my hip. It's like a little, just something inside, just aching in my left hip.
Well, officially 2 weeks left.
I'm only
so.
smiling. Yeah. I'm only smiling because I can totally feel your pain. That's part of, the things we do and that we think will be invincible for, you know what I mean? Like later on, that's what I tell all my younger guys. Like, take care of yourself now, man, because you'll be glad you did later on.
For
yes,
sure.
Sir. No doubt.
Well, Troy, I know your surgery is going to go really well. And the nice thing is you're in great shape. So recovery, it sounds like, and hopefully won't be too difficult. How long did they say the recovery is going to be?
They haven't told me. They said we're going to get up and we're going to walk the first day.
Okay.
You're going to walk.
So Mr. Dorsey, I'll just tell you, my friend who you've met before, you may not remember, his name is Tom Clifford. He's a good friend of mine. He just had his second hip replaced, but he had it done this was like ago. His first one went great about a year ago. He got it done Monday morning, and he was teaching class Monday night.
Wow.
Monday night. Now, he did it out of principle. It's not like he's throwing kick. The same day. Then, of course, because he said the pain meds, out of principle, I had to do it. So I showed up to school and kind of, wandered around for a few minutes. So that was his idea of teaching class. But so he was right back at it. So, of course, now he's rehabbing. But, I think that, like I said, not from experience, just from all my friends that had it done, I've never known anybody that had their hip replaced that wasn't glad they did it. Everybody's like, best thing I ever did. So I'm sure it'll be great.
Good. Okay, so that's good. Now we will be thinking about you, Troy, on April 15th, which is just right around the corner. And hopefully you'll be doing your round kick that night. So
I don't think so. What are the doctors? I'm going to try to be the best patient I can. I don't want to go through this again. So
that's good.
Yep.
Although do you know Bill Wallace, Ms. Kovar?
Yes. Of course. I'll see him in a couple of weeks at an event. Yes. He's had like 4.
Yeah, exactly. He's had 4. He had 2 on both hips. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, he was at a seminar. He actually, we brought him in to do a Troy Dorsey kickboxing organization seminar. So I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he's amazing. He can comb. Where's my hand? He can comb your hair with his foot. He's unbelievable. He's 70. He'll be 79 December 1st. So what a
Unbelievable.
That's
what
crazy.
he's what a great example.
Totally.
Now,
Yeah, no doubt.
Mr. Kovar, I have one last question I want to ask you before we close our interview out today, and it's the question I've been most excited to ask you. Why do you consider yourself a martial artist first, an instructor second, and a businessman third?
Well, that's how I look at what I do. So the line is very blurred between my profession and my hobby, right? You know, what I do. And I know as a professional martial arts in the world of running martial arts schools, what you see is some people will all of a sudden decide they're a business first, meaning it's really about making the money, right? And what happens, they might have some short-term success, but if you want long-term success in the martial arts world, first and foremost, you have to be a martial artist. And what does that mean? To me, that means living the lifestyle, training, trying to uphold to the standards that martial arts represents, of strength, honesty, integrity, work ethic, etc. And so that's first and foremost. And then that's half the battle of being a good teacher is being passionate about what you do, right? So if I'm training and I'm actively training my martial arts, I step out on the mat as a teacher and I'm just better. There's an X factor that just happens. And that's half the job of having a successful school is being a good teacher. So in the end, if you want a successful business, if for the long haul, for decades, you start by making sure that you adhere to, being a martial artist and then really focusing on being a good teacher, and then the business will follow. That's kind of the concept with that.
I love that. Troy, do you see any similarities in how you try to...
Oh, yeah. There are people that chase the money. You can't chase the money. You've got to, like you said, it's martial arts first. And it's a passion for me, as I know it is with Mr. Kovar. It's our passion. We love it. We love to help people. We love to help build their confidence, build their focus, strengthen their minds and their bodies in every area. So martial arts does that. And it's just so great to be able to do that.
I love that. Mr. Kovar, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your expertise with us today on If the Gloves Could Talk. And you're all the way in Sacramento, California, and that's the cool thing about this technology we have here is we get to have a conversation with you virtually, and you don't even have to be here. But thank you so much for taking the time to speak with Troy and I on his podcast.
Oh, it's my honor. Always. I sincerely love and respect Mr. Dorsey dramatically, and would do anything for him. So happy to be on a show. This was my pleasure. Totally.
Troy,
thank you so
anything
much
else?
for really some kind words. I really appreciate your kindness and always been. I went to an event. I don't remember exactly what event it was, but I went to California, and guess where I got to stay? Got to stay at Mr. Kovar's home. He allowed me in his home. We had never met before, I don't believe. Well, maybe once, but we didn't know each other. So we got to know each other a little bit better. Then it's just been so kind to me. My whole martial arts career. Just happy is.
I have such fond memory of that because my son Alex and you stayed up late watching your fights, and he loved that. And because he watched one fight that you lost, and my son was giving you a hard time. Oh, there you go. Yeah, got me there. He still talks about that.
Well, tell Alex hello for me and your wife for sure, Mr. Kovar. Yeah,
I will.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kovar. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Oh, wow. Wow. So many memories here. I'm on to a new place now. This is really unbelievable. So when we opened up, we had our martial arts classes over here. And we had our kickboxing classes over here. But this is a great memory. So many memories made here, so many black belts, about 400 black belts during 1999 to 2022.
just now getting it, believe it or not. I've been in business for 41 years and with 2 karate schools, and I'm just now getting where I'm being able to get home a little earlier.
Starting at the age of 15, teaching his own class, and now owning 8 karate schools in the Sacramento area. Mr. Kovar is definitely somebody we can look to and think, I want to be like him one day. Great man to speak with, and it's just an honor to get to have these conversations with some of the greatest members of martial arts today and in the past, and probably will be even in the future. Fun conversation Troy and I got to have with Mr. Kovar, and we will definitely be having him back on If the Gloves Could Talk. So once again, and as always, thank you guys so much for following along this journey of watching Troy get to tell his story, get to relive some memories, and get to learn from one of the greats in fighting, Mr. Troy Dorsey. I am your host, Bryce George, on If the Gloves Could Talk, and we'll be back next week with some more content for you guys.